my name is Philip Stratzma. I am part of Wislug and Eurobricks as well. So this is my personal individual build for this year. It's based on an actual house. HGTV, I'm sure they're aware of what they do, but every year they give away a house, and it's called the whatever year. So 2019 Dream Home, for example, for this year. So this house is actually given away in February of this year, and they were advertising it prior to it being released or being the giveaway going. And I was scrolling down my Facebook feed, and I'm not a fan of like HGTV or anything, but for some reason I got sponsored the house, like a sponsored ad for it. And I'm like, dude, that would look really cool in Lego. So I pulled my wife over, and I'm like, hey, come take a look. What do you think I can make this out of Lego? It's got like sand green color and a lot of the dark earthy colors, which I have a bunch of. And she's like, yeah, you should totally do that. It'd look really cool. So, 3 orders later, she's like, are you done ordering parts yet? And so no, it came together pretty well. So, but so started building it this in the winter. Completed it, like the vehicles on the other side. Completed those maybe just a couple days prior. Reworked a bunch of stuff that I didn't like the way it looked. So, but
it's a great build. I mean, the house itself, just with the roof lines and everything, it's so smooth and just nice and neat looking. So if you want to kind of take us through maybe the different sections of the house here.
Yeah, absolutely. So starting kind of over on the deck section is pretty much where I started, knowing that that was going to be probably the trickiest area to start and to get the size right and everything. Because there were like house plans, so I could kind of do measurements and everything for it, but that was not. So I started over there, and then like kind of getting everything right. And the actual pad itself in the actual house sits above, like the wood chips and above the grass, but I couldn't get the curves right, so I Lego Liberty right and dropped everything below. And then some of the colors are a little bit different too, because something that looks really good in real life doesn't necessarily pop real well with Lego. So I did some variations on the blues, but for the most part everything kind of matches well. So worked that out, and then started working on the deck. It was a bunch short and a bunch of parts. So I had to order those, wait on those. And then started actually working on the right side of the house where like this roof is here, and the initial like master bedroom or whatever. So I started working on that, kind of figuring out the size, actually laid out the entire foundation first after measuring everything from the floor plan. So worked my way around. The thing is in 3 sections. You can actually take it apart, move it around pretty easy. But these 2 sections right here were first, and then followed by the main area. Everything inside is furnished as well. The problem is you can't really see it that well, and I put lights in there, but they've already burned out. So,
is it possible to take the roof sections off?
Yes, they do come off. So I pop the easiest one to pop off are probably this section right here. So I did some of the interior, and the idea with that was just so that people, like, if I did light it up and get to light up well, that you could kind of see inside that there was an interior in the house. But as you can see, it is fairly difficult to see down into it. So there's like a full kitchen underneath. The bedroom's got like a bed in it with some dressers and stuff. The bathrooms are all done. So it's always funny when you're making like real life things out of Lego, like Lego toilets. Like this feels really awkward. Like I'm building a toilet, yay! Happy Lego Day.
So as you were working on this, you mentioned it's from the house that they were giving away. Were you just looking at photos? Was that pretty much all you had to go off of?
Yeah, so being that it was HGTV's house, it was really, really well documented. So as you can see through the photo stream that I have showing right now, all angles of the house, they had photos of the interior of the house. So my biggest challenge was just trying to replicate that as well as possible. So with Lego, you're always taking liberties and stuff, and the size, no matter how well you space things out, is always going to be not quite right because, Lego minifigures are quite wide compared to regular humans, right? So trying to make that stuff line up well was a little difficult, but I think I got the sphere of the house is kind of my goal. So if you saw it, you'd recognize it and be like, oh yeah, that's the HGTV 2019 Dream Home.
Yeah. How did you decide on what exact scale to go to when you saw the photos of the house?
Yeah, so the idea was to go minifig scale, but a little bit bigger. So obviously with traditional Lego sets, they tend to scale them down so they can package them and keep the part count down. But in this case, I knew that I could step up the part count a little bit because it wasn't going to be a set, and kind of make things a little bigger. So it's, again, with the scale is based on the dimensions of the building, taking the whatever dimension it was of the photo I had or the picture I had, and then multiplying it up so that it does scale really well. I couldn't tell you what the exact scale number is, but it's very close.
And I think you captured so much of the house details and everything so nicely. You can just imagine this like out in the woods a little bit.
Yeah, so the actual house is really sweet. So if anybody gets a chance to take a look at it and go down to if you Google 2019 HGTV Dream Home, the actual house, this is actually the back of it over here. So this is like the back of the house. The back of the house actually faces down towards Whitefish Bay in Montana. So it's a really beautiful location. That's like one thing that you can't show through Lego because it's miles away, right? And then the back of the house works up into a mountain as well. So
I'm assuming the story doesn't end with you winning the house.
no, unfortunately. So I did enter to win the house. I put in my form, filled it out, every my information, and then just like anything in life, you put in your 1 in a million chance to win or whatever it is. But yeah, so hey, I can go and pretend like I'm living in this house, right?
Exactly. You've got the brick built one here. But yeah, great work. Thank you so much for taking us through the build.
Yeah, no problem. And the truth be told, like when he gets home, the kids will have a little house to play with, and that's the whole goal. The whole thing was show it and then bring it home so they can have fun with it.
Great. Yeah, even some playability. So that's awesome.
Yeah,
Thank you.
So we'll rip all the roofs off and everything, and they can put the minifigs inside and play around with them.